Thanks for joining us this week on Coast to Coast, courtesy of West Coast Health and High Performance. Now, here's the thing, okay? Chris Perkin, a.k.a. Tex, genius. He's been the Eagles physio for about 15 years. He's got the practice set up here at the footy club. Come in, grab yourself a coffee, have some lunch, watch the boys train. They'll run around the park for you, and then go and see the great man next door. He's got the fitness classes, injury prevention, rehabilitation. He's just a freak. Come and see for yourself. Check out the friendly staff, West Coast Health and High Performance. What a monster week it's been in footy. An amazing victory against the Tigers we'll touch on Sunday night to keep the top four dreams alive. And the entire footy department have gone on leave, but I tell you, who's come up out of the depths and said, nah, there's no rest on my watch. The fans need me. Oscar Allen joins us, a part of that magical victory, and the waffle skipper, all-round knowledgeable man, Hamish Brayshaw, by his side. Welcome, boys.
Gee whiz, that's an introduction if I've ever heard one. Good to be back.
That's a GOAT introduction. Yeah, good to be back. Couldn't leave the fans hanging.
No, you couldn't. Especially with the trend that we're on.
Tex, that's an all-time promo for him. He would be very happy with how that's gone.
Yeah, it's deserving.
You simply had to come in and give the fans what they wanted. We're on the upward trend. We're rolling hot. And we couldn't say no to another episode this
It was
week.
the back page that got you two here, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so,
yes.
No
Thank
question.
you to the West for jumping all aboard my comments last week. Hopefully I can give you some juicy bait and reel you in once again.
Yeah, absolutely right. Now, Oz, let's jump straight into it. That was one of the great wins of all time.
Yeah.
No question about it.
In a tell-all, it was a great game. At times, looked like we were dead in the water against a team that, if you watched them last week against Essendon, probably the form team of the competition, I'd say. Their last 10 minutes against Essendon, almost similar to how we finished the game this week. They've won 3 out of the last 4 premierships. Probably will go down as the greatest team of our generation, and to knock them off in a really, really important game. Incredible, not only for the playing group for this week, but the morale for the rest of the season as well.
God, yeah. I mean, it looked like, watching the game, so I was there, and it looked like that last... When Bolton kicked that goal... Pretty good goal.
Yeah,
but like it looked like they were about to do what they did to Essendon the other week and just put you away. And then just that arm wrestle, you were nearly done, and then just went whack and came back the other way for one of the great finishes. Gee whiz, run us through the last 10 minutes. How did it, like, I know in the crowd, it just sort of started getting louder and louder and louder. And I don't think until we got to two goals behind that everyone sort of thought we were going to win it. You know, when you're in the crowd and everyone thinks we're a chance when they start chanting Eagles. Like, you celebrate a goal, but as soon as the Eagles chant rolls out, the fans genuinely think there's a sniff.
Yeah.
And I think it was when we got 2 goals back. Might have been after you kicked your one.
Yep, I kicked mine to make it 2 points.
Nah, all right, who kicked the one before yours?
Jakey kicked a real long bomb, and then Cripper kicked one to make it 8 points with about 6 minutes to go in the game.
I reckon when Jake kicked his, the fans started chanting Eagles, which is when you know that everyone in the crowd is starting to think there's a sniff.
Yeah, well, the start of the fourth quarter, I thought we were a really good chance, down by 10 points, and Richmond had finished the quarter really well, but we missed a lot of opportunities in the third quarter, and then it led to the start of the fourth quarter. I missed a set shot, a snap from the boundary line, preceded by missing another set shot, a little bit of a bunny, preceded by me getting hold on the ball, and then them going coast to coast, which led to Bolton's goal. So I was a little bit flat, to be honest, because I thought, well, if we're going to have to win, we need to make every post a winner.
Yep.
And I've probably not cost us the game, but definitely haven't helped us win. Missing those goals were definitely not helping us win the game. I mean, credit to Jakey and Cripper. There were some tough set shots.
Jake's was a monster.
A
monster sausage.
Knocked him home. And it started in the midfield, really. I think Elliot Yeo, his last quarter.
My goodness me.
We'll touch on a lot of players here, but Elliot Yeo, his last quarter, he had 10 touches and 6 clearances, 6 inside 50s in a quarter of football.
He went beast mode in the last.
Nick Nat, obviously we'll speak about him later, but Luke Edwards, 11 in the last, so composed.
Gee whiz.
And then the big dog, JK.
It's just an undisputed king.
You just knew it was going in, and no one else you'd rather have the shot.
Nah, God, no.
And to be honest, it always felt like we were going to win from... I didn't realise how long there was left in the game, but I just had a
there was a bit of
like,
time left.
I feel like we're going to win this game.
Yeah.
And it just felt like the tide was going our way. The little 50-50 balls were going to us.
Started to win, yep.
Yeah.
There was only 2 blokes on that other team that looked like they could win it for him, and it was Bolton and Dusty.
And they almost did.
But just the sheer weight of numbers, the entries that we were getting, the looks that we were getting inside 50, just swung it in our favour, and just a tremendous victory.
I think the boys behind the ball were incredibly important.
God, yeah.
I think Tommy Brass took 3 or 4 big contested dukes on the wing to help us get repeat entries, which led to scores. Harry Edwards, best game for the club.
Yep,
he was,
no question.
He was great against Sydney last week, and not against Sydney, in Sydney against Carlton last week, and even better this week. Luke Foley.
Foles, Bunger
showing he's still
The rock,
and almost a nucleus to our back line.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
So let's touch on quickly the fact that we've had this 2021 season, we've been one of the worst teams in terms of last quarter performance, and we've turned it around with 2 back-to-back victories, pulling it out in the fourth quarter and outscoring the opposition. I mean, that must be so pleasing from a team aspect point of view to have those fourth quarter storm homes. I want you to talk about that and what probably some of the messaging was at 3-quarter time, putting us in that huddle, and what some of that focus, last-minute messaging was from the coaching crew.
It hasn't been discussed, that last quarter fade-outs. It's all, I suppose, a bit of a mindset thing. It's not physical. We know we're a really fit side. All our GPS numbers indicate that as well. So we knew it was all mental, and we didn't discuss it at any stage. We have never discussed us not performing well in the last quarter, and I think the weekend shows why. We're capable of doing it. It's just about rocking up and actually performing.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's something that's definitely spoken about externally, and players, you'd be aware of it. I mean, blokes read the paper, blokes see it in the news. Like, it's not a foreign concept. The boys are struggling. But the last 2 weeks have just shown that, all it takes is that mindset. If you can stick with games and you get repeat forward entries and we can get it into our forward line, we kick goals, and it's not about us losing legs or getting tired, because we still had a young team on the weekend. We still had a lot of young players, but it's just that mindset and the way we play in the last quarter that I think, it's not touched on, but the boys know it, and the boys you lift in that last quarter, especially in the big games. In
regards to Simo's comments at 3-quarter time, it wasn't anything about what we needed to do differently. It was more so sticking to the process and probably being a little bit braver. I thought our ball movement was probably a little bit braver in the way we defended. We were really aggressive, and I think Dusty's goal showed that. He got one out the back early in the fourth quarter because we were pressing the game. And it didn't change anything with what we were doing. It just allowed us to really play free-flowing footy.
Yeah, I think that bravery in the last quarter typified in the last passage of play. Like, Harry Edwards takes that mark and just plays on straight away. I mean, for a big bloke, not overly quick off the mark, just saw the opportunity and just went whack. Took it on, hit a great kick, and then that next one goes out the back to Liam, who takes it on, plays on, and hits this little left foot chisel to JK. Like, that's the way that the bravery to take those kicks on. I mean, if you're a team that's, especially like Harry Edwards, is a young player, he hasn't played many games of AFL footy, to have the cojones to just go whack.
Shades of 2018 grand final, just speaking about that one, with Gov just takes it and goes, Oscar.
Yeah, I feel reticent to mention the grand final because it's a different stage. I think anyone that played in the grand final knows it's different. It was a huge game and probably one of the biggest regular season games that I can remember, but a grand final is a little bit different. I think the whole passage there was similarity, so I can see where the recollection comes from. Obviously, Liam Ryan playing an important part.
Yeah.
A key back just rolling and going.
Yeah.
Role players doing their part, but in the end, I think it was a little bit different.
Yeah, of course.
The kick. Was anyone watching Fox Footy last night?
No.
They did a measurement as to how long the kick was.
Liam to JK. Oh, it didn't look 15. It looked about 8.5.
I saw the Fox Footy broadcast, and I'm shocked they got to that measurement in it.
14.5 metres is what the official measurement came back as.
Wow.
And me hearing that makes me think a lot of not 15 play on, a lot of those decisions are probably incorrect because a lot of them go a hell of a lot further than how far that kick did.
That didn't look very long at all, but oh well, you take it.
You take it.
Simo talked about a tug-of-war pre-game. Oscar, do you remember that speech that he spoke to the playing group about?
I do, yeah. It was more so about they're a really good side, and when they're challenged, they bring out their best. You look at the Essendon game, they were really challenged, and we knew we'd be back and forth all game, and they're not a team that's going to roll over at any stage, no matter the scoreline. So we knew there were going to be moments where we had the advantage and momentum, and they'd have moments as well. We're really fortunate that we took ours, and on the scoreboard, early in the game particularly, we're really efficient. That's what kept us in the game. And then later in the game, we probably weren't as efficient, but made the most of the big moments. Obviously, JK's set shot, a couple of the other boys, as we mentioned, and our backs really holding the fort for us.
Completely agree. I mean, the last quarter, it was always going to be a tug-of-war. They're a great side. They have been for the last 5 or 6 years. They've been one of the best sides in the comp, so they're always going to come. And I think it's been the same with us for the last few years. I mean, the game, we're always challenged in big games. Like, look at the grand final. We were down 5 goals with a little bit left in the first quarter. So it's just the ability, and the good teams have it, the ability to not get phased by the scoreboard and just stick to the process and go about the business the way we did was a really real credit to the way we are at the moment set up.
2.5 win percentage likelihood at one stage in that final quarter. So the odds
on the win viz?
Yes.
Wow.
2.5%. Outrageous.
That doesn't really surprise me, to be honest. I think, what were we down? 4 goals with 10 minutes to go in the quarter against one of the greatest teams of all time.
Well,
realistically, they'll go down as one of the greatest teams of all time.
Yep, I don't like to say it, and you don't like to call out fans at games, but I think when they kicked, I can't remember who kicked the goal, but they got to
Bolton's goal.
Yeah, Bolton's goal. They got to four goals up, or 25 points or something like that, and fans got up and started to leave, and they would have been at the train station.
Flat as a tack.
At the train station, hearing
the roars.
Just roaring and thinking, geez, what's going on in there? Is there a streaker or something? Because we can't possibly be winning.
And they don't deserve to see the end of the game.
No, correct. If you're a fan that gets up and leaves before the final siren, suck eggs.
Shame on you.
Yeah, suck eggs.
Let's go cover some individuals of this game. And I want to start with you, Oscar. It was your return. How did it all feel? Were you ever a chance of missing? It all felt clear and good to go?
Yeah, I was always pretty confident I was going to get up.
Especially after I medically cleared you last week.
After I was medically cleared, it would be really embarrassing if I didn't actually get medically cleared afterwards. But I felt pretty confident out there, and I was actually speaking to a member of the media, Will Schofield, after the game, and he mentioned...
Member of the media.
Member of the media. I'm sorry. That's all he is to me. He's a member of the media.
Would have felt dirty
he's
even saying that.
He's not a friend. He's not a colleague. He's a member of the media. The first contest I was involved in the first quarter, I got clobbered in a marking contest.
Yeah.
And it was probably the best thing for me. I think when you come back from injury, you want to really just get in amongst the game. In that first contest, you get up and, I'm all right.
You got crunched. You got absolutely crunched in that one.
Smashed. I mean, on to that point, I remember Angus, after he had his 6 or 7 weeks off, he came back and wore a first game with his helmet. At about 2 minutes into the game, he had a head knock, straight on head collision with Kobe Much, I think. He had the head collision straight on with him, and he actually was fine. Got up, dusted it off. Gorney patted him on the head. Kobe perforated his eardrum, and I don't think he ever played footy again. But Angus was straight up. Best thing for him. Rubbed it off and was just straight on. No worries.
There you go. Yeah, I think when you get those contests out the way early, you just forget you can play the game. But I definitely did feel a little bit rusty early. They're a terrific backline. They help each other out really well. So if you miss a cue off the ball, you can get left in a pretty useless position, which happened to me at times. I was matched up on Grimes for most of the day, and
he's a good player.
He's an All-Australian. He's a really good player. Very good player. But I thought I held my own with him throughout the game.
What about the role, Oscar? So it's been probably 2 months or even then some since you've played the second pinch hit ruck role, and then you've gone back forward, obviously. Were you excited at the challenge to go back and pinch hit and be a little bit more around the ball at times?
I was, absolutely. Thankfully, they didn't have a really genuine backup ruckman. Coleman Jones can do it, but they decided to put Pickett in the ruck, which is nice. The first time, I reckon, in my career, I had the advantage.
You won a few hit-outs. Your record was 10, and I was tracking you on 8.
Yeah.
What was your CBD record while you were in there? Did you check?
I won all of them.
Yeah.
Did you get clearances from?
I can't remember. I think we won and won. I think I had 2 or 3, and we might have been 1 repeat.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But not too bad.
Yep.
No, it was. I was tracking you because I remember. We spoke about it the week before. 10 was your record hit-outs, and I saw there was 2 in a row that you got. So there was 2 repeat stoppages, and you won both hit-outs against Pickett. And I thought, geez, he's a sniffer. You get another stoppage, wrap it up.
I just wanted more stoppages. Yeah.
Go again.
In context to that, I probably could have had a chance, but Nick played out majority of the last quarter in the ruck. Obviously, really important, and when he's in the ruck, we're a better team. Obviously,
no question.
I think the game on the weekend, and it's obviously a conversation as to who's the best ruckman. I think that really showed how important he is.
Yeah.
And he can really change the game in ways that no other player can in the competition, in my opinion.
What were your thoughts when Dusty had the ball with 10 seconds to go at the other end of the ground?
Gee whiz.
Yeah, it was anxious. I'd just been moved back, so I was told to go +1, so I sprinted down back, and Jack Rewalt crumbed it and just got away from a tackle of mine and handballed it to him, and I thought, oh no, this is going to be on me, and Bunga, in true Bunga fashion, takes
just rolls back and goes back. But I remember I was in the crowd watching, and I was sitting next to my girlfriend, and I said, Lex, the only bloke that, like, when they turned it over, when we won the clearance, because I was chucking on KO, I was like, just to check the time, and I knew there was about 30 seconds left when the centre clearance happened, and they got the footy, and I was like, oh, watch Dusty, the only bloke that'll win it for him. And he got the footy, and I just sort of grabbed my hair, and he kicked it, and I was like, I knew as soon as he kicked it that it didn't have the legs, but then Bunga rolled back and nailed it. Jeez, it was close. But I was a little bit Brucey Nankervis there for a little bit.
Yeah, don't blame me. I was as well.
It's going to be a very tense session of...
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking we should just jump straight into it while we're on the topic of players. But the Hammer Time votes.
Shall we?
No. I want to get some youngsters first. So let's talk youngsters.
Maybe there's some youngsters in the Hammer Time votes. Who can tell?
Whoa, that's thrown me a separate way. But
There isn't, but-
okay, two players. Let's speak about them. So Luke Edwards, the first one, a NAB Rising Star, genuine chance this week. Second game of footy. What did he have? 11 touches in the final quarter. Looked as composed as anyone I've seen with that many games under their belt. Talk to me about him.
If he doesn't win the NAB Rising Star nomination this week, I will in my hands and clap. That was the best second game I've ever seen from a player, I think. Just about ever.
Hammer?
He was.
I've got bad news.
He didn't win it.
Riley Thilthorpe got the Rising Star nomination.
How many goals he kicked?
He kicked 3, had 16. He kicked the game winner.
Oh, yeah, actually, fair enough. Sorry, Riley. Well, you hit a head here first. Next week, live on Coast to Coast, I'll in my hands and I'll clap.
Yeah, he was great. Take nothing away from him. Second game, when you get picked in the draft, this is a perfect example of how non-important it is.
Yeah.
You have guys that come in and they're just built a way that they can play efficiently and work at the senior level. In our draft year, James Warpole was the example of that.
Yep.
He went pick mid-50s
Yep.
and won the best and fairest in his second year and has played every game for 4 years. Luke Edwards, I'm not saying he's going to win the best and fairest or anything of that nature, but has come in, looked really composed, played his role, and most importantly, I think he's a real accepted member of the team.
Yep.
And you can just trust and rely that he's going to do the right thing whenever he has a ball in his
Yeah.
hands.
I'll tell you what he had the confidence to do was hit Big Oscar up in the forward 50 for one of your major goals.
Yeah, thank you, Lukey.
Yeah, thank you. He just looked like he'd played 100 games. He looked so composed with the footy in his hand. I mean, I'm sure we've got footage of it somewhere and you can go and have a look at the game. But early in the fourth quarter, he sold the dummy to Koch and it just looked... It looked like, I mean, this is a very, very, very generous comparison, but it looked like Pendlebury. Like the way he just balked it with his hands and then just sort of cut back inside, it was Pendlebury-like. He just had so much time with the footy, and he did it a few times on the game where he just sort of shimmied and turned and then found someone, and he was just excellent.
I'm not sure if you heard Simo's comments after the game, but Simo's very much undersells it.
Yep.
So if a young player plays well, it's all, he's playing well, he's going to be, hopefully he'll be a good player in the future, he's got a lot of development. And I think Simo was almost surprised as to how well he played.
Yeah.
Because the reporter asked him how'd he go, and he simply went, he's a good player.
Yeah.
Which you don't hear him say about many guys who haven't already won a best and fairest or been an All-Australian. So good on him.
He has got you see a game like that, this kid has got a rich, rich future at the club.
I was in the change rooms after the game and his family were there.
Yep.
So his old man, Tyson Edwards, obviously played 300 games for Adelaide.
321, I think.
321. Wow. So
3-2-1.
Good luck catching him. He's probably going to need to play from now on for the next 15 years to get him. But went and had a chat with him after the game and it was almost like his son had 2 touches on debut or in his second game and hadn't done much because I just went, so nice to meet you, met the family, his partner, his brother, mum, dad. And I just went, your son was bloody good today. And he went, it was all right. I mean, things to work on, but it's a good start. And I thought, wow, I'm so glad that my dad never played footy because my dad would think I'm the best person ever if I did that. He's awesome player, and I think his family and his background's probably why he's so composed. I mean, his old man's seen it all, and I'm sure he spent a lot of time in the change rooms growing up. Yeah. And JK played against the old man
against
and
Tyson.
with the son.
Oh, that's quality.
Cool.
That is pretty cool.
Love that.
He was just next level. Showed genuine class.
A couple of green shoot backline players in Luke Foley and Harry Edwards. They were very important early in this contest. In the first quarter, they had so many moments where it was pivotal they win their one-on-one contests. I thought in the end, Edwards and Coleman Jones had a great battle where they were both having the upper hand throughout the game. They've both played under 6 games. It's remarkable the improvement they showed. Luke Foley, 4 intercept marks. It's almost like Gov and TB are just genetically spreading their ability for these youngsters to come in and just pluck and read the ball so well.
Luke Foley's my new favourite player.
He's always been my favourite player. I reckon watching him play Waffle 2 years ago, I thought this guy is my favourite player. He just attacks the contest, is really strong, and he's...
Probably playing midfield when you were watching him then, surely.
I think he was. I remember early in our second year Hammer, you gave him a bake once. Do you remember this?
Yeah, I mean...
He was playing midfield and
I am not
ripped him to
afraid
shreds.
to say I gave Luke Foley one of the biggest cooks I've ever given anyone.
his first
in
year?
his first year at the footy club. I wasn't playing this game. I was injured. And we were playing out in Swan Districts. I was second year, and during this game, I was the senior head at the Waffle, which says a lot for how we were going at the time because I was in my second year. But I was doing some midfield coaching that game because we were light on numbers, and anyway, Foles was playing midfield, and I said, righto, all I care about is whether you're hard at the footy, and I can't remember. It was. I think I was just ticking and crossing whether you were hard at the footy, or whether you were soft. Anyway, there was young midfielders. He was, I tick cross. Anyway, Foles at halftime had a cross, and I went up to him, and there was a couple of instances where I thought he could have gone a lot harder, and I said to him, I was like, Foles, that's the softest half of football I've ever seen from anyone, and really let him have
That's
it.
a fair sledge.
Yeah,
fair
it was. I really let him have it, and he then, subsequently got moved to the half-back flank. He got kicked out of the midfield and moved to the half-back flank.
So this was the masterstroke spray he probably needed in his career trajectory.
Well,
to
I'm
move
not saying
to his
it was,
favoured position.
Whoever was the coach at the time, I think it might have been Webby, said, mate, you're playing half-back, and he had one of the best halves of footy. I reckon he took 6 intercept marks and 4 of them were contested. And I went up to him after the game and said, yep, well, prove me wrong, mate.
Touché.
Very, very good stuff. I was thinking he was soft, and then he played half-back, and he just jumped back with a flight and took this all-time grab. And since then has been dominating on a half-back flank at waffle level. But I did give him a great cook, and he has since turned it around. And he's now one of my all-time favourite players.
I wasn't at that game, but I heard secondhand about the cook from someone that was not you or him. So it was already folklore by then. But
Sorry,
he's playing great footy, and interesting to see. We've obviously got the bye this week.
Yep.
Waffle team.
Yep.
We've got a couple of numbers coming in. I'm not sure who exactly the names might be, but there's Shuey being thrown up. I'm not sure who else. Obviously, you probably know a little bit more than me.
No, hang on. We got the names here. You want to hear the names
Yeah,
of the
let's go
possible
the
selections?
names.
So here are some possible players against Subi on a Saturday afternoon with the Eagles bye. So these are players that have played AFL this season. So Ainsworth, Archie, Vardy, O'Neill, Langdon, Petch, Hutch, Williams, Brander, injury dependent, and then possible Shuey. Is Kelly coming back? Gov, Witherden, where are they at? So how are those names?
Well, that's pretty much
Not a bad lineup.
Yeah, that's not a bad lineup. That's all. That's pretty much half of your AFL team. But look, I don't know how many of those blokes we will get back. This is going to be interesting because we got the bye. We won't have to have any travellers. We won't have to have any carryovers. It'll be interesting to see whether or not blokes who are playing a bit more regular AFL footy now get a rest, or whether or not they come back and play waffle. So that'll be touch and go. There's some blokes coming off injury, as you said before. So, it's an exciting week to be a waffle eagle, that's for damn sure.
This leads me to my next point. It's going to be very tough for the selection committee. I'm not sure how many players will get up and be available for AFL selection in a fortnight's time.
Yep.
But it'll be a very brave man to leave out a lot of these younger players out of the side, which the way footy works, sometimes that's the way it has to happen.
Yeah.
But it'll be really interesting to see, and maybe the magnets will get shuffled. I'm not too sure. But these young players have come in, and I'm a young player as well. All of us as a young players, as a group, I thought we've galvanised really well.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of comments made from external sources about how we don't really have any young talent. And we sold the farm to get Tim Kelly, but TK is going to be here for another 5-6 years. Tom Barras,
and the rest,
Dom Sheed at 25. They both played. I know Dom's played 100 games. TB's closing in on that.
Yeah.
Liam Duggan's played a lot of footy, and then we go along the line. There's a lot of us younger players who are hopefully going to be around for a long period of time.
Well, yeah, the fact that people say we don't have much young talent is, come on, have a look at the weekend. But it is going to be interesting to see the selection in 2 weeks' time because the young fellas did play well. I think if I'm a coach, I'm shuffling the magnets for 1, maybe 2. And, the rest, there's a few guys that are just going to be in the unfortunate position of, hey, we've got Jeremy McGovern coming back in or we've got Luke Shuey coming back in. Sorry, you're going to have to play waffle, but it's going to be tough.
And one thing we will not be doing is making selection calls. Do you know what happened last time we made a selection call on this show?
No.
We had Jackson Nelson in. And
Oh,
we were
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about a selection squeeze. We said, Jacko, you've got to the stage in your career, you are a lock.
Yep.
Proceeded to get dropped.
Then come in
and
for the...
came in late for Alex Witherden, who had sore groins.
So not officially dropped, is it?
Not officially dropped, but yeah, that's why from now on I'm saying I would shuffle the magnets for a 1 or 2 players. Not going to name names, but
that'll just be the comment. They'll shuffle the magnets.
Yeah, they'll shuffle the magnets. But that's a little wrap. I reckon we go hammer time votes now because I've got some votes, and then we can talk about some other players because I do have a few.
Bring
other
it on, bring it on. The selection squeeze is going to be big, though. You are the real winner of the selection squeeze, Hammer, because it's all coming straight to your bandwagon.
Well, I'll welcome you with open arms. And I'm not saying we are going to win this week because we yet to win a game. We're a young team, but I was thinking at halftime of the game last week against Claremont for us, and I was looking around the room and I was thinking, if we win this, the Gatorade shower after the game for your first win,
It's going to be all time.
we're going to have we would have had 5 blokes in a circle with 17 guys in the middle. Like, no one's won a game.
Who would have been on the outside? It would have been
Would have been
you?
me, would have been Vards, would have been Hutch.
Yeah.
Shivers. Like,
So it's not a circle. You've got to change the shape of what it is.
Yeah, you have to change the shape.
So
like,
you look at the other listed players. Ben Johnson, obviously, no waffle footy last year because of COVID.
BJ hasn't won a game for us. Jamo hasn't won a game for us. X O'Neill has. If Foles come back, he has. But like this,
That's about it.
That's about it. None of our a lot of our waffle boys haven't won games, so it's going to be like linking arms
Holding
with
the group, shepherding sheep into the middle.
yeah, herding sheep into the middle. But anyway, yes, we will be definitely the beneficiaries of a selection squeeze. So, hammer time votes. Let's roll. Welcome back. It was a tough 3-2-1 votes.
I don't blame you.
It was. I've got for the first time. I've got a lot. I've got 7 honourable mentions.
Oh,
Plenty.
7 honourable mentions
Plenty.
with the 3, and then the 3-2-1, obviously. So I'm going to roll straight into the 3-2-1.
okay.
We'll go the honourable mentions after because it was a game where I felt like there was a lot and I needed to mention a few.
Yeah.
1 vote, Shannon Hearn.
Yeah.
1 vote, Shannon Hearn.
Yeah. The thing is, I can't say
You can't
any of
argue
them,
with- yeah.
You can't argue with any of them. They were all really
No.
good. So yeah.
Yeah, 1 vote, Shannon Hearn. He was a rock. He had 10 marks. He had 10 intercept possessions. He was always there when you needed him. And, I mean, he's been doing it for however many years he has been, but he was just phenomenal, I thought, on the weekend. And I know you're having a look over and seeing the votes, but we'll move on. 2 votes, Redo.
Wow. I can, once again, was the driving force, particularly early. So I think early he was great and helped us in the game with our contest work. And then later in the game, obviously Nick was good all day, but
Yep.
Nat Nui's Yo's probably lifted. But yeah, I can.
I
that as well.
think
You've been a big Redo supporter on the
I
show.
have been a massive Redo supporter. Redo's in his. I don't want to throw it out there and be wrong, but I think he's in his 12th year or
12, 13.
12
He's played about
13th year.
220 odd games. So.
Yeah, he's played 200
He did play
plus games.
150 gimmies at the Brizzy Bears when they were the worst side of all time. Thanks, Redo.
He's in career best form. He had 7 clearances on the weekend. He had 55% of his possessions were in the defensive half. The amount of times he was floating back, he'd help our backs, and he was there when the ball hit the deck. His work rate was just phenomenal, and his work around the contest, his pressure on the footy, he was phenomenal, I thought. And he's in career best form, and that's why he's got the 2 votes. And
Surely no surprise.
no surprise for your 3 votes.
My
there.
man.
Our man. He is the king. An undisputed king. People might be thinking, geez, he's getting on.
Where's the drop-off? When's the drop-off
Where's
coming
the
up?
drop-off for him? Who knows? I don't think there ever will be. He could play until he's
I
50.
might be playing backup ruck until I'm 30.
You might be, mate. This bloke doesn't stop and showed the world on the weekend that he is one of, if not the best forwards of the last 20 years. Josh Kennedy, the king, 4 goals. He had 3 goal assists. It's not like he was just kicking them all. He was giving them off. He had tackles, he had marks, and as clutch as it gets.
Is it time for the conversation as to where does he sit as the all-time greatest Eagles player? So I've got a couple names that pop to
Yep.
mind. John Worsfold,
Yep.
huge one, 2-time premiership captain. Obviously, everything he did for the club as well.
Yep.
Being involved with the first 3 flags. You've obviously got Cuzzy.
Yep.
Although he was only here for a short time, Juddy, which probably rules him out as best of all time.
Yeah, I mean, when you think of Juddy, you do sort of take his whole career into it. He won a Brownlow at Carlton, so he
Yeah.
was still phenomenal for the back half.
I'm going to rule him out just because
Sure.
he was only here for 5 or 6 years. Coxie, Peter Matera.
Yep.
I mean, probably, I dare say, our greatest Indigenous player.
Yep.
Well, I don't say I dare say, he is our greatest Indigenous
Yep.
player, I think. And
Jakovic.
Sumich. I think
Well, I think
JK
Josh Kennedy now overtakes Sumich,
Yeah.
in my opinion, for greatest Eagle of all time. In
Well,
terms of the forward, like if you're going to
yeah.
rank the forwards, I think JK probably just edges him now. It's not a Flemington straight, but I think he's got him.
Well, yeah. I mean, I said in his description that he's arguably the best, if not, in the conversation as the best forward of this century. I think it's
along with Buddy, I'd say.
Buddy Franklin then him.
Yep.
Buddy Franklin then him is my opinion. How many goals has he kicked now? Has he kicked 700 yet? No.
No, I've actually got a question for you.
Yep.
Do you know Jack Rewalt and Josh Kennedy? Who do you think's kicked more goals?
I reckon Jack Rewalt has kicked more goals.
Jack Rewalt has kicked more goals, and he's won, I'll get the stats up for you
Yeah.
right as we speak. Jack Rewalt has played 296 games
Yep.
and kicked 698 goals.
Yep.
So that is an unbelievable
He's
goal
not
to
big.
game
Yeah.
ratio. Like,
Yep.
unbelievable.
Yep.
Joshua J. Kennedy.
Yep.
Obviously not to be confused with Joshua P. Kennedy, who have both played.
Both played 270.
Who've both played
games.
274 games.
Exactly.
Exactly. Both
Unbelievable.
played the exact amount of games. That's incredible
Unbelievable.
stuff.
So-
yeah.
As if you couldn't confuse them enough.
So RJK has played 271 games.
74, I think that's...
74 now, sorry. And he's kicked 673 goals. So he's about 25 goals behind.
But
he's played 20
odd
less
less
games. And I believe this week will be his 250th game for the club.
That is correct. And you know who's just overtaken as Pav for the greatest goal kicker in
Outside
VFL,
of Victoria.
AFL history outside of Victoria.
Wow. I mean, yeah, there's just no denying the bloke's a king and he keeps delivering time and time again. And a very deserved 3-vote getter. I'm going to quickly run through the leaderboard before we get on to some honourable mentions.
I want to go through the leaderboard and I want to see if I can guess the 7. Did you say 7?
Yes, I've got 7 honourable
I want to
mentions.
see if I can guess the 7 after the leaderboard.
Sure, no question.
We need to go back to who you think your greatest Eagles of all time. This isn't a box quartet where you can just name 5 and they're all going to fit in there. Like, you've had to think about who it is. So we'll get back to that in a little bit.
We'll get back to it. All right. 1 vote, Shuey Roth. 2 votes, Gov Cripper Bunga. 3 votes, Petch Chi Flyen. 4 votes, JD JK. 5 votes, Sheeta and Redden. 7 votes, Aussie and Gaffy. 8 votes, TK. And 10 votes, TB and Nick. So TB and Nick are leading on 10 votes.
Yep.
And TK's rounding out the top 3 with 8. So
I think that's a pretty fair representative
Yeah.
of where the
where
best and first will be.
Yep.
I think this will be the new method after this year. When they see how close it is and there might be a bit of conjecture on the night and they'll probably go, well, what was Hammers?
Jeez, what was Hammers'
And
thoughts?
they could
Yeah.
honestly overthrow it.
Well, I agree. I completely agree. But I think that is a pretty fair representation of where the season's at. Anyway, Oz, I've got 7.
Can I guess the 7?
You can guess the 7.
Okay, so I'm thinking Luke Edwards.
Luke Edwards is in there. I've put him in there. Genuine class. Second game, 27 disposals, was phenomenal.
And the best dummy of the year.
And the best dummy of the year.
Nick Nanui.
Nick Nat Nui, we're going to bleep this out, but he's up good.
Yeah.
He's just so good at football and he's, yep.
That is
class
unbelievable
above.
that he didn't get votes.
Well,
that shows
I know.
how good
Yep.
he is.
Yep.
I've said Luke Edwards, Nick Nanui, Tom Barras,
Tom Barras, just enormous again.
Luke Foley,
Luke Foley, yep, he's my new favourite player.
Harry Edwards.
Harry Edwards, massive king and such good contest. That play on to that in that last little bit of play with the little chiseler just shows the bravery he's got, the way he took it on. He was phenomenal. So you've hit 5 out of the 7.
His improvement, I think, he'd be the most improved player at the football club, I'd say. Oh, you've probably got along with Roth.
Where are we
Files.
dating that back to?
The start of what you expected coming into this year from
Okay,
Yeah.
the 2021 expectation.
Haven't we got that later on the run sheet?
Yeah, but I might push it to next week.
Elliot
Right.
Yeo, I'd have as an honourable mention.
Elliot Yeo, just massive. Went beast mode in the last and, he is one of the top players in the competition and just went bananas.
And then the last honourable mention, I've got a couple people here. I'm thinking you probably got to pick one out of Sheeta or Gaffy maybe. They're both good on the day, but I've seen them better. I'm going to say the last one, maybe Jamie Cripps. I thought it was pretty good on the night.
Yeah, Cripper was in there. Well done.
Was he the last one?
Yeah, he was the last one.
There you go. I'm proud of myself. That was awesome.
I think the way that his work rate, we say it every week, his work rate is phenomenal. He works up and down the ground better than just about anyone in the comp. And the clutch, we were coming back. We were coming. You kicked a good goal. He kicked a great goal. Jake kicked it. But, his was at a point of the game where, if we miss that, momentum was just swinging for us, I thought, and his second goal of the game just sort of tipped it in our favour a little bit and just went whack. So he was the 7th honourable mention.
So has Hammer absolutely dumped all over a unsung hero in Oscar Allen's world?
Well, yeah.
He's
go for it,
named
sorry.
basically everyone that played well that doesn't generally get the recognition. So normally we don't do honourable mentions.
Yeah,
but
sorry.
I've got one particular Instagram message from a Jamie Sinemia at jamie.sinemia.music, and your shout out has given this man the unsung hero of the week. Obviously all those players that we've listed.
Yep.
But he's gone, unsung hero this week has to be Harry Edwards, mate. That mark, play on, and kick into the centre was pivotal to the win tonight.
No question.
I think a lot of the two Lukes will get a lot of love.
Yep.
And I think the unsung hero, the way I want it to come across as, it's the player that probably extends from what they would be expected to play for the game. So Luke Edwards and Luke Foley both very stiff.
Yep.
But I think Harry Edwards played an unbelievable role, kept us in the game a lot early, and that the last play of the game where he helped lead to the JK goal will be spoken about quite a lot, I think.
Yeah.
But I think his defensive work is what I appreciate the most as a teammate, so that's why he'll be getting it for me this week.
Excellent.
I don't think you can overstate how important some of those set shots at goal were for the entire game, because Richmond had a lot of opportunities that they blew.
Yep.
And your likes of, Waterman coming in for Petch last minute, made the most of his opportunities, knowing what's on stake for him to be converting in those moments. It was just great composure. So I've probably got about 4 topics before we can the show and get out, because it's going to be a long one.
Yep.
Nick Natt as captain. That's now back-to-back games where the boys have just had miraculous come-from-behind victories.
Yep.
What's he like on the inside from skipper? I want speeches. I want leadership. I want some info.
It's an interesting topic of discussion because our leadership group is Luke Shuey captain, and then we've got JK and Jeremy McGovern vice captains. And the reason that Nick became the captain for the game against Carlton is because those 3 were not there. However, JK was back on the weekend, and therefore you assume he will be the captain. But Simo made the call. I think it was because of how well he did last week. And I think JK really couldn't be bothered talking to the team before the game because I can't imagine how hard it would be, but rumour has it before I got to the club, he's had a couple stinkers, JK, in his past.
Oh, yeah. Sam Butler and Will Schofield tell of an almighty one where he just kind of gave up about 10 seconds into it and everyone's just laughed and he's gone, oh, you know what I mean? Get out there.
Yeah.
And it's an all-timer.
But he was been pretty good since I've been at the club whenever he has to speak to us. And Nick's good in terms of he does pre-game, and he's one of those leaders where you don't really need to say much. You look at him, you're like, I love you.
Yep, you're on.
You're on.
Yep.
I'll back you into war.
That was the glassy mentality that everyone speaks about during that 07-08 period, onwards, of just didn't need to say much. You just looked into his eyes and you're like, yeah, I'm following you into the trenches.
Another underrated player who could go down as one of the great Eagles of all time.
Yep.
But it's quite good at halftime. He just goes to a random and he goes, take us, just as we're about to come out. So rumour has it he did it last week to JD and he crumbled. So he went to, who would you go to? Pick one player in the team if you had to go, who's going to pump us up and just say the right thing?
When? Half-time or pre-game?
Half-time.
Wow, big moment.
Whilst on the ground. In the whole playing list. Who would you pick?
What about Jakey Waterman just for a real random?
Because I think that'd be hilarious. But if I'm doing it for someone to properly rev us up, or am I doing it?
You're doing it just as someone to go over the basics, say, boys, get the contest right, yada, 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 let's do it together.
Duggo would be great. If I am having one, I'm picking Harry Edwards.
Shannon Hearn.
Yeah.
He's gone to Bunga. He's gone to the goal.
Gone to the
He's
ex-skip.
done it.
Yeah, been there, done that.
And he went, Bunga to you. And Bunga's gone, all right, boys, get the content. And just fluent, knew what to say. He probably is sick of other people talking, I could say it better than you guys. I want to come out there and do it.
Fair enough.
So, he's been a good leader. He is a good leader. He's developed a lot in my time at the club, and he's one of the players that you stand taller when you're alongside him.
And leads by example. He puts himself in a position to help the team win. Like leaders, you have leaders that are, on field, lead by example sort of guys, and he's a guy that you can jump on the back of and ride that wave of momentum. And I think he does it as well as anyone. And because he's a ruckman and he's always in the contest, he can do that better than a lot. Like if you're JK as a full forward and you're our captain, you can't really push that. You can't be that on-field leader unless our midfielders are winning it. Same with if Bunga's down back and he's our on-field leader, if our mids are winning it, he doesn't really get involved in the play. But if you're Nick, you can always, no matter if we're winning or we're losing, you can always be the barometer. So I think that's what he leads on field.
I know we've got other important things to talk about.
Well, not really. That's debatable.
Yeah. This whole idea of leadership and where the leaders should be on the ground is an interesting one because I think it's almost awkward for a forward at times to be the leader because forwards in their nature are I'm not going to say showboaty, but they finish off the work. They don't necessarily do all the grinding behind the scenes. So it almost tends for a backman or a real gun midfielder, someone around the ball all the time, to be that leader. It's interesting. I actually saw a stat the other day that Ross Glendenning was the last forward to be the captain for the West Coast Eagles. I'm not sure how many other forwards, obviously. Nick Rewalt springs to mind as a forward that was a leader for
Jonathan Brown.
Club.
Tex.
Jonathan Brown.
Tex Walker.
But Tex, even then, Rory Sloane was probably the leader for a long period of time. I think in modern footy, it's a lot of them are your gun midfielders or like a defender.
Well, I mean, just speaking personally, like at Waffle, I was playing forward for about 3 weeks in a row, and as captain of that team, I sort of felt not useless down there, but it's hard to, like, you can't on field, like I can't. I've got to scream at the backs to, give them some encouragement. Whereas if I'm in the midfield, I can sort of do it both ways. But so it is a good point, position of the midfield, or position of the captain.
Next 6 weeks, it's the Dogs at home in an absolute monster Sunday game. What is that going to be with some soldiers returning? Then you've got the Swans, the Roos, the Crows, the Saints, and the Pies. Now, who knows what the betting market's going to be for the Dogs, but you'd have to say that Eagles would probably start favourites against the next 5, albeit how that form depends. This is a monster opportunity on the horizon to really start creeping our way up that top 4. So, holiday time.
Yes.
Yep.
You're meant to be on break. You're meant to be on a beach somewhere today. I know this would be terrible weather to be on a beach. You'd be pretty cold and want to go home quickly. But where are the players? What's everyone doing? How's everyone spending these 4 days of just R&R?
A lot of the boys are down south, actually.
Yep.
So there's been a little bit of controversy because we initially had the bye the same week as the Waffle bye, and the Waffle scheduling people made a big effort so we'd have it at the same time. Obviously, COVID hit. Our bye got moved, so then the AFL listed guys who were going to play Waffle had the bye this week, and then the AFL players have it next week, if that makes sense, if we go back a week.
Yep.
So it was very logistically tough to organise, but the blokes that played AFL on the weekend, a lot of them are down south. A lot of us have different reasons for hanging around. My partner's finishing her exams for uni, so I stayed with her. And to be honest, you don't really get a lot of time to just chill out at home during the AFL season. Me being from Perth, I have a lot of mates here that I don't get to see every week, so having a bit of time to see them is great. But yeah, a lot of the boys down south, hitting a couple wineries.
Yeah, Jake Waterman was on a wine tour yesterday, and I'm sure he knows the difference between a Shiraz and a Merlot or something.
But yeah, I think they're having a good time. It's important for boys to get away and just chill out and not think about footy for a while.
Yeah, I saw a photo of Venner's. He was talking to Coley at this wine tour.
In the wine cellar, yeah, it's a great photo.
Very, very funny. That bloke wouldn't know the difference between wine if it sort of hit him in the face. And I hope it doesn't hit him in the face because he would be knocked out again. But yeah, hilarious.
Let's talk on that real quickly before we move on. So that interview dropped last week.
Incredible.
From he was so well spoken.
Yep.
I'm glad he decided to do it for the reasons he wanted to do it. Wanted to inspire others to sort of go and seek help if they're going through their own personal battle. I wanted to ask from a teammate perspective. Like there would have been a number of teammates that didn't really know exactly what he was going through. I'd imagine that would have been a great opportunity not only for the public but for closer teammates to kind of learn all the ins and outs about what he's going through day to day.
Yeah, you definitely did learn a lot of things from it. He was great with me last week when I had my concussion, and he just came up and straight after the game, the boys came down from the race and he said, no, put him away. That flared me up when I had mine, and he was really good with how I was handling it, checking in up on me. But he's a really, I'm not going to say insular, but he's quite a closed off person until you really earn his trust and you get to know him pretty well. So it is a tough one, but he's gone through so much the last couple of years. And on the weekend, I realised how lucky I am that I had a head knock, same as he had a head knock.
Yeah.
Yet I'm fortunate enough to be able to go out and play footy and do what I love. And he's been waiting 2 years and he hasn't had that opportunity again. You take things like that for granted. And he's really unfortunate, the circumstance. But what he's done coming out and speaking about it, really brave. Yeah, just proud of him.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the blokes at the club have a pretty good idea of what's been happening. Like, obviously, they know this could be your first year, it could be your 10th, but you know that he's missed a bulk of football. You know that he's can't do contact. He wears the yellow cap out to training because it's the non-contact stuff. So you know that what he's going through, but the ins and outs of it, like the fact that he's 2 years down the track and he's at a point where he's just training because it's not getting worse. Like he's still getting headaches. He's still got that pressure in his head, but he's just training because he knows it's not getting worse anymore, and that's a positive for him. Like that sort of stuff, you don't really know unless you're really close to him. So that's, as a teammate, an ex-teammate, that's good. You hear that and you think, like, this bloke's going through a lot, but the fact that he's trying to spin it as a positive thing now and help other people is a credit to the bloke that he is. He's a great character. He's a really, really friendly fella. And this, if he can turn this into a positive, whether he gets back to play football or not, I think is a really, really good step for him.
Yeah, thought he was spot on how he delivered his message and how he spoke. All right, we've got one more segment to run through, but a little teaser for next week. We're going to have some mid-season awards handed out. I think it's obviously the time for it. There's some absolute rippers in there and plenty in the running. I think we should also open up our discussions and maybe finalise what you were saying, Oscar, about greatest Eagle of all time, because that's a worthwhile debate.
It is, and I've just had a look at some of the lists and some guys I missed out on. Embers, Drew Banfield, our first number 1 draft pick ever. Dean Kemp, Guy McKenna. It's going to be a tough one.
There's a few. You walk through the halls and you see the blokes that are that have played 250 plus. There's some pretty handy players up there.
We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. All right, we'll talk about that next week. But
I also want next week, Oz, obviously the big freeze on the weekend.
Yep.
If you could go next week, have a think about it. If you could go down as one person. If you had the costume next week, who would you go down as? Have a little think about that.
Yeah, good teasers. I wrote that in there.
That's good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
All right, so to finish, there was some debate on Eagle Review, just a show that absolutely no one watches, but I wanted to ask you guys, where does that rate? Oscar, you're going to have to tell me in terms of playing, where that rated for best Eagles game you've played in, and Hammer, where it rates probably as best viewed game, maybe at the ground, or maybe best Eagles game of all time is being spoken about.
Sure.
That isn't a final.
Okay.
So I think you have to put probably the Geelong comeback, the 54-point comeback in 2006 as number 1. That is going to be so hard to knock off its mantle. It's not even funny.
Yep.
And then it's open for debate what you want to put in the top 3. So I can throw some at you, but I'll get you guys to get the ball rolling.
I think there is. You do have to distinguish between games. Obviously, finals are a separate beast.
Yeah.
You can't compare a good finals win with a good home and away win.
Apples and oranges.
Very, very difficult.
Have you seen the 06 game properly in its entirety?
I haven't, but I've seen the clip. There's some footage of it. It's like a 5-minute clip, and it goes from when we're 56 points down to when we win.
Well, you know what it misses out on is where Cam Mooney threw Adam Hunter into the dugout, I think it was,
and then he cut his whole head open and came back with a headband and kicked 3 goals in the last quarter.
Kicked the winning goal with the headband on, in front of Mooney. It was epic scenes.
Unreal. Well, I'll have to go back and watch that. But yeah, you've got to distinguish between finals and home and away. I've got my own little list here of games that I've seen live, because I think being at the ground is distinctly different than watching it at home.
Yep.
You get the atmosphere, you get the vibe. You're obviously going to give us a couple of games that you've played in, but I'm just going to quickly rattle off my 3, 2, 1 for games I've ever seen live.
Yep.
Okay.
Now, this is inclusive of finals because it's tough. I mean, I'm just going to throw these 3 out there. This does rank in there.
Okay.
Including finals. So that just shows the weight of this game. So
that's a massive call. I'm sure you've been to some monsters in Melbourne.
I have been to some monster games.
Did you go to the 2010 drawn grand final or
No, I watched that one at home. Didn't go to that. I've been to the Hawks Freo grand final. I've been to the Sydney Bulldogs grand final. I've been to the Hawks.
Oh, the Sydney Bulldogs one. That's big.
That was great. That was not in the that's not in my 3.
Wow.
Okay, so the one vote game. So there's 3, 2, 1. I'm going to give one vote. 2000. I was a North Melbourne supporter growing up. Massive North fan. 2014 semi-final, North Melbourne versus Geelong. North Melbourne were about 30 points up, 36 points up going into the last quarter. Geelong kicked 6 goals in a row to bring it back to a draw. It was hanging on a knife edge. Todd Goldstein took a mark. It was going inside their forward 50. We were 6 points up. Goldstein took a mark with about 30 seconds to go, deep inside 50, Leo Barry style, to hold it off. Got the clearance out to the wing, and the siren went. And being at that ground, it was at, I think it might have been Etihad at the time, could have been the Telstra Dome, I can't remember what it was. But the roof was genuinely getting lifted off. That was one of the best and most exciting games I've ever been to.
Age?
I was, 7 years ago, so I would have been 16.
Yeah,
peak footy age.
Peak footy fanatic age. 2 votes, the game on the weekend. The game on the weekend, I was tossing up whether or not I should go to it, and I was like, bugger it, I'm going. I want to go. Lex and I went along, and it was 50,000 people. There would have been 46,000 West Coast fans, and it just got louder and louder. And the first 3 quarters were great. There were some really good passages of football. Dusty's goal was awesome. There were some passages of play we thought, geez, this is 2 quality teams going at it. But then the last quarter just went from 0 to 100, and the voice of the crowd, I can't understate how much a crowd atmosphere lifts the level of a game viewing wise. And so that final couple of minutes when JK kicked the goal, I honestly thought I was about to cry. So that was phenomenal. It was it was the first time since getting the arse last year that I've been since getting the arse last year that I thought this makes you miss being on the list, because I remember if I had been like that's a game you want to be playing. So that was phenomenal, and 3 votes to the grand final, 2018. Just untouchable. So that's my 3-2-1.
That's pretty good.
Live games that I've ever seen.
So Oscar, I'm just going to run a few. Have you got your list over there of like top 3 Eagles or top 3 played? What have you got?
I've got top 3 played, but I've also probably got an idea of what I think the top 3 Eagles games.
All right. Well, I'll finish with that. You go with your top 3 played then.
So I do have some honourable mentions. Obviously, your first game is a really important day for you.
Yep, excellent.
And we were playing GWS, backs against the wall, Parask, McGovern.
2018?
2018.
This is when Jack Darling just caught absolute fire.
Yeah, Jack Darling caught fire. Josh Candy out. Mark Lacroix out. Backs against the wall. We started the year off, we're like 12-1. We lost 3 on the trot and came in round 17.
It was a big game
against a
for
GWS
big
team.
game.
And that was unbelievable. I think we won by a couple goals. St Kilda last year in the hub.
Yep.
Backs against the wall. Hammer's first game. All of us young boys got a game, and we were just...
It was dope.
Yeah, it was dope. All of us from our draft year played.
Yep.
There was all 5 of us played. It was one of the most special days. Like all my mates were playing with me. It was awesome. But my top 3, I'm deciding 3 and 2. I'm going to go round 15, 2019. For those who can remember, rain, MCG against Hawthorn.
Yep.
They weren't a great side then, but we also had some injuries. I was playing down back. I took a nice mark going back with the flight.
Yep.
And I remember we was a tied ball game with about 30 seconds to go, and I was playing at fullback, and I thought, nah, I'm running forward, and sprinted forward. No, we were down by a point, kicked it behind, so I'd sprinted forward because we had kicked it behind. They kicked it in, and I was waiting at centre half forward, and I thought, oh no, I'm supposed to be playing fullback, and my man's the other side of this stoppage. Thankfully, he comes to the front. I boot it as far as I can in long. Cripper crumbs it, kicks a goal. Siren goes about 10 seconds later in the pouring rain.
Was that the game Shuey had 29 in the second half?
Yeah, Shuey had 29 in the second half. I'm not sure many Eagles fans will remember it really distinctly, but it was a huge game.
I remember it. Cripper kicking that goal, that was unreal.
That was an unreal game for me. Number 2 was against Adelaide, in Adelaide, round 10, 2019. So what happened this day, we were down by 35 points at halftime.
Yep.
And this is when Adelaide were...
Ripper.
They had 20...
You kicked the winning goal, didn't you?
I kicked the winning goal, yeah. So we had 2017 grand final. Adelaide played in the grand final, probably the best team all year, and then Richmond won it. 2018, they had the whole camp saga.
Yep.
A lot of players wanted to leave and had a really poor year by their standards.
Yep.
And then at this stage, they were still like a top 4 team.
Yep.
And it was thought these guys...
They're back.
Onwards and upwards, halftime, they're back. Where are the Eagles at? We'd be 6-5 or 5-5 at this stage. Where are they sitting at? And we came back and won that game. And I just remember being on the road. I kicked a pretty important goal late in the game, and that was the first time I actually felt like I belonged to AFL level.
Run us through it.
So
reactionary skills elite.
Yeah, so game started. We're getting whacked. Like, we're getting dispatched. Come back into the game where I've done nothing all game. I'm literally just a scarecrow out there, just standing there.
Awesome.
It was a wet day as well. Gaffy launches one in. I'm supposed to be in the marking contest. I think, I'm a crumb. I'll crumb this. Bounces to me, tap it over my man's head.
Yeah.
Grab it and then dribble it from the goal line.
At what stage of the game? And
there was a minute 30 left.
And score?
And it was a tied ball game.
So you kicked it to put us a goal up?
I kicked it to put a goal up.
Unreal.
Unfortunately...
How do I not remember that?
Unfortunately, JD took a mark and kicked a goal after the siren to make it a 12-point game. It would have been cooler if he kicked that out of bounds on the full. And
you had to kick the last goal.
It was just a 6-point game.
So the Waffle Boys played at Swan Districts that day and lost a real tight one by under a goal of 9 points.
Jared tore his hamstring that day.
Yes.
So we got back, and when I got in the car to drive home,
I think that might have been the game I ripped Foley in half.
Really?
Could have been, yeah.
Worlds collide. Worlds collide here.
There you go.
Yeah, so that was the best day for me.
Yep.
Not the best day for you.
Nah.
Or Jared Brander.
Or Jared Brander.
Or Foles by the sounds of it.
He played
Foles.
Swans.
This was Foles' best day
That
of all
was the
time.
best day
This
for
has propelled him to be.
We
where
played
he is
2
now.
games at Swans that year, so I can't remember which one it was. But I definitely remember Pig dying and still being out on that wing.
I remember Nick Nat was at that game because he wasn't playing because he was injured. And he had his little Mustang at that time. Yeah. And he had to drive Jared home. And Jared tore his hammy off the bone. And he couldn't get his down into the Mustang.
Yeah.
And then, apparently Nicola had to carry him into his house onto the couch. So good.
Oh, wow.
And then best game of all time that I've played in,
The weekend's game.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. If we won that final against Collingwood last year, I'd say the final probably would have pipped it because that was a very good game.
And a final.
Yeah. But we lost that game, but we won this one. So
yeah, excellent stuff.
Yeah, this is my favourite
Righto,
game.
let's roll through.
So for the Eagles tragics out there, I mean, we'd love to get your opinion on it. If you want to hit any of us up on socials and let us know if we're missing one or let us know what your vote is, please do so. The 2018 game, the round 21, where Govers ended up kicking the goal after the siren, that was so important for the context of the season, but Power were in control of that game up until about 5 minutes remaining in the third, and then Ryder and Dixon got injured almost simultaneously, and that's the moment it just flipped for them. And then the boys were like, I think we're a chance. They needed that win. They outscored them 3-0 in the final term. It was an absolute ripper. 2016 against the Giants at Spotless. It was round 21 again. That was the 6-2 final term.
Shuey
went off.
Nick kicked the goal.
And the Nick winning goal. Shuey, 38 touches, 2 goals.
Yep.
It was an unbelievable performance. I was at that game. Unbelievable. I was going nuts in the race and got some stern looks from the GWS crowd, officials.
Bugger 'em.
Awkward moments. The 2017 game, round 23 against the Crows, where they had to win by a certain amount.
They had to win by
make
5
finals.
goals or 4 goals.
Yeah,
and the Crows were the best team all year going into that
Was
game.
that the game that Pritter had like 35 and kicked 4 goals? Or was that the week before? I reckon he might have done that the week before.
That's a monster game for a
he was
Britta. 4
phenomenal.
goals.
Yeah, I think it was the week before that he might have done. So he had 30 in that game. I remember I've watched the game, but I think he might have had like 4 goals and 30 the week before.
I remember Jets kicked a couple of awesome goals in that last quarter. And so the story goes, talking to Boots about it, Luke Shuey, unnamed Adelaide player, they were bantering back and forth late in the game. And Boots said something along the lines of, you guys are supposed to be premiership fancies and we're smacking you on our home deck. The last game ever played at Subiaco Oval.
That's right.
And he said something along the lines of, yeah, good on you. You got to win by 5 goals to make finals. I'll be winning the flag in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And then in 2019, after Boots has won a Norm Smith medal and a premiership, after Adelaide's demise in round 22, he lipped him again, and Boots said, how'd that flag go for you, mate?
Can we name names? Or?
No, I'm not going to say who it was, but
disappointing.
awesome
Clever.
backstory.
So that led to the Port Adelaide elimination final the next week as well to win that game.
Was that Adelaide game the game where the live ladder was on the board?
Yeah.
Up at the and it was just like percentage, in, out, in, out, in, out.
We were both watching that, not on the list as well.
Yeah, I would have been at home watching it because it was Melbourne that were.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was Melbourne that were 8th
Melbourne
and
ended
9th.
up coming.
And
So were you cheering for the Crows?
I was watching it cheering for the Crows because
Right.
obviously Angus was in a
Tell
play
you
for
what,
Melbourne.
worlds are colliding here today.
Yeah, unreal.
So then we got a few old school ones. So there's back in 2002 in round 5, we took on Brizzy at Subi. They had like Voss, Acker, Black. They were on a 20-game winning streak. It was the first big win from Woosher. It was his 5th match as coach. Matera Bog, Jacko, Cuz was captain. So that was scenes back there. Troy Wilson kicked 5 of the best.
Troy Wilson was drafted at 28, hey?
Was he?
He didn't play much footy because he was drafted when he was old as, and like used to kick bags for fun.
Yeah, right.
It was awesome.
I remember in the Chris Main wearing games, he was still running through blokes in this charity game out at Subi. You just couldn't,
Huge human being.
couldn't flick
Huge
off the
man.
switch. But they won by 46 points in that, so it's not a nail biter. It was just an important win in the club's history. 1998 against the Bulldogs in round 10. The Dogs kicked the first 8 goals of the game in the first quarter, 8-0.
Jeez.
And then West Coast in the second quarter, 8-0.
Awesome.
It's a point difference at halftime.
Right.
And they've gone on to win that. G-Train, 3 goals.
Yep.
Almost bogged. The first derby back in 95, the 85-point drubbing. Were you born then?
When?
What year?
95?
Born in 99, mate.
Yeah, well, so that's before your time, well and truly. There was 2009 at Etihad against the Dogs. That was the biggest underdog win I think I've ever seen when I've been at the club for 15 years. They were like $4.50 or $5. Andrew Embley Bog had 3 goals, and that was an awesome game in the club's history. So, what's your 3-2-1? As an Eagles fan, where you sit with it?
So that 2005 to 2007 era.
So you got 2007, where you've just won the flag. You've had 2 back-to-back grand finals against the Swans. Round 1 at Telstra Stadium in Sydney. And Daniel Kerr had the match-winning tackle as they were about to pump it in the side forward 50. So that game, they won by a point. That also should be down in folklore.
I'm going to have a cop-out here because I was 8 or 9. No, it would have been 7 or 8 in 2007. And that period from 2005 to would have been end of 2007, 2008 when Eagles and Sydney would play. like 4 times a year because they play twice every year, and
Yeah,
they'd
and
always
then
play in
finals.
like a prelim or
Yeah.
a qualifying final and then a grand final. I get really confused because I was quite young in terms of was it a final, was it not?
Yep.
Like Mickey O, that was a final when he kicked that goal, and
It was a qualifier.
that was a qualifier. I'm going to rule them out because that is the greatest rivalry, in my opinion, in Eagles history. That period of time.
Yep.
I'd say take out the derbies because that's been going on forever.
Yep.
That was like an all-time. There was something like 8 games were decided by 12 points.
Yeah,
Like
that's
something
awesome.
stupid
Yeah.
like that. I'm taking that out of it. Mine would be number 1, the game against Geelong, untouchable, 2006. We were always coming back as a kid. The Eagles were always coming back from like 5-6 goals down every game that year to win.
I think the next week against the Blues, they came back from the similar margin in the wet. Like they did it again. The Blues were nowhere near as good as Geelong, but it was like the belief. They all talk about it in the 06 team. It was like when that Geelong game happened and they got 40 points down against the Blues, they were like, we've been
done
in.
this again,
We've been in.
So that'd be my best game of all time. I'm going to say huge recency bias, and I played in it, but sue me, I don't care. This is second. I'm just going to go my lifetime because I can't go games when I wasn't here because I didn't experience it, understand it. That was the second best game, I think, home and away. And third best is the Port Adelaide game in 2018. I was where Gov kicks a goal after the siren.
Yep.
I was watching that game from home. It was a really important game, but I think this Richmond team, when we look back on it, we'll think this was the team that was unbeatable for 4 years over this period. Collingwood beating him in that prelim where we were going to either play Collingwood or Richmond is the only. I'm just going to say we were going to beat him in the grand final because I'm obviously going to say that, but that's the only really important game that they've lost in the last 4 years.
Yep.
I'm going to say that is 2, followed by the Port game being 3. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, well, I wasn't an Eagles fan before, November 2017, so I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to the home and away games.
Yeah.
Obviously, the finals were massive. I remember the 05, 06, Leo Barry, like that sort of stuff. That sticks out. I was only, 7 or 8 as a kid, but I remember watching those games thinking, geez, this is some pretty good footy. But the home and away games, I wouldn't pay much attention to, no. So,
Little quick one. 2006 grand final against Sydney or 2018 against Collingwood, what was a better game?
that's a tremendous question.
What was a better... For the history of the club, what was better? Thumper, you were here for both of them. Were you here in 2006?
I think I wasn't. I got here in 2008. But I mean, if you lose that grand final in 06 and you go back-to-back grand final losses...
with probably one of the most talented teams of all time.
Yeah,
with
I mean,
Cox,
By
Judd,
a point,
Kerr,
2 points or whatever
Cousins.
it was. Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see what the club's trajectory, as an organisation and how that would have gone, not recovering from that and how how different their path would have been. That's a real good question to answer. I remember being in the press box at the MCG and when they were 5 goals to nothing, and I thought,
well, the
I
same,
can't
same
believe
thing you said for 2018. If we lose that, because very similar to 2015, we're down by 5 goals. If we just roll over and get smacked.
So that's what I was going to say. So I was like, at the quarter time, or before Willie kicked his accidental goal off the heel or whatever it was, I thought, I can't believe I'm going to have to go into the change rooms and film players crying again. And like be in that scene again.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go down and film disappointment again. This is going to be so rocking for the club. So I see your point entirely. Real tough one to answer and a great question for those out there that want to ponder it.
Yeah.
Let us know on the socials. What do you think? What do you
Let
guys
us know.
think?
Is Nathan Buckley still coaching today if Dom Sheed kicks that goal?
100%.
Does he get through the Ned Guy disaster off the back of a flag and 3 years ago? Like it just changed the outset of so many different people's trajectory in life.
And it's changed a lot of people's lives, no question.
Collingwood since then, obviously they beat us in the final last year, but 2018 lose the grand final by a kick. 2019 lose a prelim against GWS, which they had no right in losing. Could be challenging for a grand final again.
Yeah.
Then all of this happened since then. Unbelievable.
You do. You can ride. I mean, as a coach, you win a premiership, and that's you're rock solid for a couple of years. So who knows where Bucks would have been? And certainly Sheeter's life's changed a whole hell of a lot since then.
Yeah.
The best goal I think in grand final, just about grand final history.
This is a jam-packed episode.
We've waffled on. I've got a lot of stuff for the socials. We'll get to that next week. If you've got anything, if you want to chime in and you want to give your opinion on the best Eagles game, the best grand final, any of that, please feel free to hit us up. Keep sharing the podcast because we are on a trajectory. We're on the upwards trend, and I've got a rivalry that I'll announce next week.
And just quickly on social stuff, keep getting to us. We both see it all. We love it.
Yep.
And thank you very much to probably like 20 to 30 messages I got of support the last week. Obviously, it was made a big deal out of. It wasn't said to be, oh no, look at me, poor me, people having a go at me. Happens to everyone. I just thought bring awareness to it. So thanks to all the support for all the fans out there.
Excellent stuff.
Awesome, and massive game of waffle footy on the weekend against Subi. It'll be streamed by the club, and there should be a lot of players returning. And let's hope
Awesome stuff.
we're bringing Teddy's whole truck with Gatorade. We're going to bring it all down. We won't be short liquid for this experience.
I tell you
Just
what,
before we leave, Teddy Roberts. I mean,
the GOAT man.
goodness gracious me. Clint Roberts, otherwise known as Teddy, he has to be just the best clubman ever.
So Waffle legend, was commissioner of the Waffle for a little while.
A long time. And he's
Now he's property steward here at the West
property
Coast
steward at
Eagles.
West Coast. Richmond on the weekend, tough game. They've lost. We've won. Everyone should be celebrating. Their property van broke down.
Yeah.
And Teddy has helped them, loaded our property van with their stuff, helped them get to the airport. After a game, we've got the bike coming
Stupid
up.
hours, 10 p.m., 11
Stupid
p.m.
hour.
yeah.
Like that, if that is just West Coast, we obviously tweeted about it if you follow us on Twitter, but that was that just typifies football. So,
And the only player that stopped to help jumpstart it, Liam Duggan. Stopped his car to help jumpstart. Just the best man of all
Doesn't
time.
shock you, does it?
whiz, Liam Duggan and Teddy Roberts. That's two of the all-time greats.
And signing off, get down the Waffle this weekend. You'll see a lot of AFL players coming back. There's probably not a lot of opportunities that you think, oh, I don't want to go to watch Waffle footy, the Eagles play, and the AFL side. You don't have to make a choice. Get down, watch Waffle, boys.
And it's good conditions too. Boys, thank you so much. Hammer, Oscar, on your 4 days off. Appreciate your
tremendous,
time.
mate.
Thanks to West Coast Health and High Performance. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome stuff.